So, who's your favorite Primarch? No, really, I'm interested. Who is it? Okay, show of hands. No lying now. How many of you said ferrus manus? Besides you contrarians out there. Like maybe 5 of you? I don't know. All I'm guessing is that it's probably the lowest out of all the Primarchs. Because maybe like one of those crazy, wacky, whiny chaos Primarchs that for one reason or another have fallen to the horrible, horrible corrupting powers of chaos and their darker gods. Either willingly or unwillingly. Like Magnus, who people say still did nothing wrong, who through a series of very unfortunate events had his planet completely burned down, his Space Marine Legion completely destroyed by his brother, and then Tzeentch wanted him, so he kind of went to Tzeentch after he destroyed the webway that the Emperor was making accidentally. Or maybe you could be correct and not filthily chaos corrupted, and like one of the Primarchs that stayed loyal to the Emperor the most, that might be active in the lore right now, or live to this day by other mysterious means. Or maybe like one of the dead ones. Like Sanguinius, the best to ever do it, the most goated Primarch. The dude that was fighting Chaos Demons and Chaos Primarchs alike before Horus went in, got rid of him. With his traumatic events actually making it so, his chapter would have traumatic flashbacks to that exact same event when they go insane because of the Black Rage. While also still being pretty big in the lore because of his connection to Necron dynasties and Dante. But no one's favorite is ferrus manus. No one's. Well, I'd probably say proportionally less. But that's a bit rude. Let's give ferrus manus an honest shot and go through his lore real quick. And then let's talk about how poorly he's utilized throughout of all of Warhammer 40k. Ferrus manus is the Primarch of the Iron Hands. The Iron Hands are basically the Adeptus Mechanicus but Space Marines. Mainly because they think flesh is weak, and that it should be replaced by stuff like machinery. And they were seen as an elite fighting group, usually being good in tank combat. But ferrus manus. Ferrus manus was sent to the feral world of Medusa, near the Eye of Terror, kinda. It's a dark, polluted planet that is a constant flux of extreme volcanic heat and ice-cold mountains that are constantly rapidly destroyed and created, making it so that people on this horrible planet have to live a nomadic lifestyle. And it's even worse because it is near the Eye of Terror, because you get a bunch of nasty, giant monsters that are chaos corrupted because of it, making this a feral world, but almost a death world. When ferrus manus crash-landed into the planet, sent there scattered across the galaxy by the Chaos Gods, he crashed into the northern polar ice shelf of the planet, on top of one of its highest peaks. The pod he was in collided with the ice mountains, and the ice mountains broke, making it so there were large fissures that were opened up, making it so there were deeper, dark fissures into the world of Medusa now. Eventually, ferrus manus was picked up by a nomadic clan, where he quickly rose the ranks as a warrior. One of the biggest, scariest things that's on Medusa was actually some Necrons that were left there. So while there were other creatures, there were also living metal automatons that wanted everything dead. In fact, ferrus manus got literal iron hands when he was fighting a Necron machine that was called an immortal silver serpent on his planet, and he dragged it into magma, where the Necron's living metal melded with his skin, giving his arms necrodermis, and his forearms too. In time, he became known on the planet as a warlord, a demigod, and a great artificer, making it so he could forge weapons and armor like nobody else, with him despising weakness because of his upbringing. But ferrus manus always kinda knew that he was meant for something greater. So when Horus Lupercal and Leman Russ showed up, he was kinda like, oh, finally, good. He became the acting Primarch of the Iron Hands very fastly because he was already a battlefield leader and he wanted to control more. In only a few years, with even the priests that acted somewhat like tech priests on the planet being put into the Mechanicum. Fulgrim and ferrus manus were actually really good friends for a while. They both had a love for artisan crafts, with them having a relationship based around creating things and forging, with them both making their own blades, with each Primarch declaring that the other Primarch actually made the better weapon, with them having a strong mutual respect for each other, with them switching weapons. Ferrus manus got a warhammer that could fell mountains with a single blow called the Forgebreaker, and good old Fulgrim got the Fireblade, which is an eternally burning flame blade. He was named the Gorgon of Medusa by Fulgrim too. Ferrus manus quite liked the name, even though Fulgrim did call him a terrible Gorgon, because Ferrus manus was more worried about the war that was going on everywhere in the galaxy and not a gem that Sanguinius brought to the Emperor. During the Great Crusade, though, Fulgrim, like everybody else, was fighting aliens, even on his big old battleship, the battle barge, the Fist of Iron, where he saved Fulgrim yet again. The issue is that Fulgrim didn't really like that Ferrus Manus came to save him. He was a little too in on his own head and getting corrupted by chaos. Meanwhile, Ferrus Manus just did it because he loved his brother and wanted to save him. And so, when the drop site massacre happened, a bunch of Space Marine legions were ambushed by others, Fulgrim tried telling Ferrus Manus that maybe it would be a good idea to follow Horus into the arms of chaos. Ferrus Manus said, no, I can't let that happen. And they came to blows with each other. He used his iron hands to destroy the blade that he gave to Fulgrim, knocking him out in the process. Fulgrim tried to use Ferrus's warhammer against him, but he couldn't, even while Slaanesh was whispering into his ear. So for the time, he left Ferrus Manus and killed his bodyguard. Ferrus Manus fought against Fulgrim again, and failed, and Fulgrim, not wanting to kill Ferrus, tried to stop, but his own sword straight up decapitated Ferrus Manus, showing that this was a point of no return for any of the now chaos-stricken Primarchs. And that right there is the basic story of Ferrus Manus. Did you notice anything about it? He's just kind of okay. Everything Ferrus Manus does, Ferrus Manus is there to die to Fulgrim. That is his literary use. He's not that interesting personally as a character. There isn't much depth in what he does. He's just a little competitive. He's a warlord. He likes fighting. He hates weakness. And he likes Fulgrim. They're great friends and brothers, but it pretty much only serves a singular purpose for Fulgrim to kill him during the Horus Heresy. Which is really tough because the Iron Hands' only big boast of their Primarch is that their Primarch is dead and did nothing. He doesn't even really have that big of a personality. And that's what makes it so sad. He's underutilized. And that's really the issue. He dies before anything cool can really happen with him. In fact, his defining moments are pretty much him just saying, no, I'm not going to turn to chaos to Fulgrim, and then dying to Fulgrim. And people don't really like the Iron Hands because of it. When the Iron Hands are great in tabletop meta, they're really good. They do a lot of fun, good stuff. And sure, there's Primarchs like Rogaldorn and Rabute Gilliman that people don't really like because they feel like they're a little too plain, but there's fun stuff with them, like Rabute Gilliman's entire resurrection arc, where he sees that a lot of stuff that he did before and after the Horus Heresy negatively affected the Imperium and Space Marines as a whole. And Rogaldorn just straight up has the Black Templars, which are more emblematic of him and his fury, that don't get completely wiped out every once in a while like the Imperial Fist. But what do you guys think about Ferrus Manus? Is he good? Is he bad? Is he boring? Is there anyone that you would say is straight up worse than him? Because for me, Ferrus Manus is the worst by default. And he never really has the chance to do anything more than that. Make sure to tell me your opinions in the comments down below, and if you want me to make any more Warhammer 40k opinion-based content. Like if you want me to talk about something else that's bad. That'd be fun. Till next video, fellas.